For the last few weeks here on Road Warrior, you can say it's all about horsepower testing the 0 to 60 numbers and neck snapping fun. But, well, I began to transition more into testing out models that have 3 rows of comfort and not necessarily upsizing to get the job done. Really scaling back and, well, seeing what it takes to get the family on the go. Hey, welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, big is better, but sometimes the approach is just getting the right size. Such the case of what lies behind me, a long model that has been on the market for quite a long time, this being redesigned for 2022, specifically the Mitsubishi Outlander. Again, a scaled down approach to 3 rows of comfort. The redesign for 2022 is described as authentic and majestic over at Mitsubishi, referring to its bold proportions, muscular fenders, and its design that points this vehicle towards the future. Now, we tested this vehicle way back in 2017, got tons of thumbs up back then, really with this overall layout on the inside and certainly the design that was built upon to get to where we are today. Now, look at the design, of course, sawed off haunches at the 4 corners, a little bit of smoothness right through here, but a little bit of chisel just the same. And I've mentioned this on many other models that really blend the likeness of some curves and some hard lines, not going one way or the other, because too much voluptuous makes it look bulky and heavy weighted. Too much chiseling just takes it to a quirky level. But this design, again, giving that bold styling and kind of a premium atmosphere. From every angle, the Outlander really gives you a different viewpoint, really having a dramatic approach as you sweep around this vehicle. From this angle, you can really see those tight body lines, the angular approach to the cabin area. From the profile, you're seeing that kind of muscular prowess, the sawed-off haunches, just a little bit wider track there at the back end, and maybe that kind of elongation there at the back as well, really giving that kind of muscular stance that they tout. The most dramatic kind of angle probably is the grille warfare I'll show you in just a second. Now, by the numbers, this vehicle measures up kind of in the upper smallish to mid-size segment, basically scraping the line of comfort when it comes to that 3rd row, but I'll show you how well it fits in this vehicle in just a second. Now, by the numbers, this vehicle is around about 185 inches overall, wheelbase 106. As for width, pretty substantial with the mirrors as you see them, around about 84 inches. But best of all, when they automatically tuck in, that's going to change it 10 inches narrower, making this vehicle less scrapes and dings in those tight spots. Also, height, not too bad at about 68 inches, which is surprising considering it has about 8.3 inches of ground clearance, making this feel a little less kind of tall in those kind of low-hanging areas. At the business end of things, this vehicle delivering cargo and people in multiple facets. Again, the 3rd row there in a pinch when you need it, because 185 inches when it comes to this offering back here will be somewhat anemic when it comes to overall, well, just generic comfort, specifically for my 6'" frame. But you know, I'm going to show you what it looks like to squeeze me inside, and maybe you might be surprised of just what you can deliver for comfort in a pinch. But the other story really is the business end of things. Any SUV certainly is going to turn into a cargo hauler at any given time. Again, as you can see from this angle, just an overall different look. You're seeing this elongated roof line, again, giving you some of that curvaceous, this huge bank of glass back here. No operational glass, that's pretty much gone by the wayside. Even bigger SUVs, some offering, some don't. Very tight body lines, not a lot of chrome to be found on this vehicle, of course, on the Mitsubishi emblem. Everything else is pretty much body color all the way around, with, again, just a hint of chrome there on the lower portion around the side windows. But what you're going to find on this particular model is ease of comfort when it comes to, well, the power rear hatch. Again, some SUVs putting the release here, others putting it down low. You'll find it in the mid area right here. Now, once this rises to the occasions, most interesting is how quick it gets up out of the way. I like how fast that operation is, and even better, how tall it is, really making for no head-banging affair. Do have manual grabs as well when there is not a power assisted, and of course the operational button is found here. Once this is open, you're seeing a massive cavernous area. This is really wide and pronounced, really allowing for anything to slide in with ease. Diving a little bit closer, you'll just see how much cargo awaits you. When it comes to cargo space, with all 3 rows in place, you're going to have around about 11.7 cubic feet, equivalent to a modest size sedan, which also notice a lower niche down here. That's going to be mainly for housing the tonneau cover and even the back headrest, because these seats will not lay flat when they're in place. And it does make for a little bit of blind spot when they're in operation, specifically with there's no people back here, no need to leave them inside. Now, to lower these down, this 50-50 split, you do have this to pull them back up. Also, this tab on the outer side to release them and fold them forward. We'll also note that that does make for some reclinability to give a little bit extra comfort when needed, but otherwise it's there to fold them flat, real nice and easy. What you're going to see here is around about 33 cubic feet, and this traditionally be how most Outlander owners drive this vehicle, because it'll be all about cargo, because again, the 3rd row is there in a pinch, not going to deliver the best comfort, so not everyone's going to want to be in the nosebleed section. Lastly, if you have bigger items that need to swing into the 2nd row, well, that's made easy with these releases on the outer side. Just simply pull it here, it will tumble them forward. That's going to increase overall cargo to around about 79 cubic feet. Now, squeezed into the back row here, again, to give you scale, I'm about 6 foot 2 inches tall. Legroom numbers on paper back here about 18 inches, but when this 2nd row is actually in its fullest back position, visually, there's barely even a crack here. So that means the 2nd row will have to slide forward probably more than just a hair, probably reducing the legroom numbers up here by about 3 or 4 inches, just to give some breathing room. Now, what you're going to notice with the overall seating, that it is pretty much on the ground, pretty much nice and flat to the floor, just a little bit of elevation, meaning the knees are going to be traditionally up in a higher elevation than sitting like you would in the 2nd front row. What you also notice is, as for feet space, there is kind of this carpeted area on the back of the 2nd row that does modestly keep your feet from tucking under in a traditional sense to the 2nd row. So even for me, I'm having to somewhat squeeze down. As for headroom, I'd argue this hump here is a little bit of out of place, meaning my head pretty much impacting the ceiling. So you'd almost want to sit forward, because it is modestly cavernous, about sitting forward just a hair. But again, in my opinion, this is no place for maybe a grown size adult, but more for smaller children, or even better, maybe vertically challenged. They're going to find a little bit of comfort, while someone my size pretty much won't find any at all. While the 3rd row has minimalistic numbers when it comes to leg room, I'd say the 1st and 2nd row is above average, around about 41 inches in the front, 39 inches in the back, and that means any sized individual is going to find comfort anywhere they sit. What's going to help with that as well is the overall plush, cushiony like feel, great overall stitching, and you're going to see like a 60-40 split bench. That means when the 3rd row is modestly operational, if there's only one person back there, that means maybe this side is the only one that slides forward just a hair, and this side isn't going to be compromised, because when you start moving these seats forward, that means the legroom numbers of about 39 inches is easily going to drop maybe 3 or 4 inches just to give them enough breathing room. So this will be probably 34, 35 inches, maybe getting into the knee scraping business here in the 2nd row. And this seats are moved forward simply by just grabbing the bar down below, and you can see how much forward movement it has. Again, this is not going to be enough for most people, so on average you're going to be about right here. With a little bit of architecture, that's going to again give some comfort to the 2nd row, while also providing comfort to the 3rd. Adding to some extra comfort is what's through the middle here. Just pull this tab. That's going to lower this center console for cup holders. I would like for it to be a little bit more level, basically locking in here. It does want to sit on the cushion. That means everything's angled just a little bit, so coffee could have a little bit more spilling atmosphere with it being angled like this. Now again, the Outlander doesn't full size its offering when it comes to the overall scale, and surprisingly what it does do is treat the interior as if it's bigger than it is. And what I'm referring to is back passenger comfort, and that comes in the form of these sun shades. That's going to help kind of just cool things down. That's an added bonus that, again, a lot of SUVs, even this kind of smaller segment, don't deliver, because when things are heating up and you're at the mercy of the climate in the front, well, it just takes forever for that air to circulate back here. So this is step one of cooling things down and just giving that extra shading. What also helps is the tri-zone system. Back here in the back, they're having their own readout there behind the center console, venting right where you need it, and just a nice up and down. Also premium touch on this particular one are heated seats on the outer sides. Again, just another level of comfort here on the Outlander. With a vehicle this size, you don't need a huge power plant in the hood, so Mitsubishi delivers with a decent offering, specifically a 2.5 liter inline four-cylinder, delivers equal 181 horses, 181 foot-pounds of torque, and is coupled to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, this vehicle also came with the AWC, also known as all-wheel drive control. That is its four-wheel drive system, allowing the driver to have, well, the confidence at the four corners, as well as the selectability modes to pick what the driving conditions are. Swinging around to the guerrilla warfare, I'm not saying Mitsubishi Outlander did a little bit of copycatting of a premium model, but you can draw a little bit of kind of comparisons between the two, but the other will go unmentioned. Now, what you're first going to notice is how it angles down and then has a little bit more blunt force trauma as you sweep down. Implied grille right through here, huge Mitsubishi chromed out emblem, and as I mentioned, there's not a lot of chrome around this vehicle, just a touch here and there. Arguably at the front, well, that's where the chrome is truly blinged out. The Outlander, again, adorned right across here, maybe draws again on that kind of reference I'm making to another premium model, but I'll let you draw on the comparison. Now, as for airflow, this is implied. Airflow gobbling up through this open grille through here and down low. Pretty much body color everywhere else you can see, and another touch of chrome is this sweeping accent around through here. The other big notice is the vertically stacked headlights, going with a three bulb approach, vertically stacked. The upper two truly operating the headlight system. The third there when you go brights. When these are not on, this is your daytime running light that is operational at all times. That couples nicely when the headlights are engaged. Other things to talk about is safety. Tons of sensors both in the front and the back, also cameras. You'll see it adorned here. That allows you to really get all the angular approaches so you can kind of minimize scrapes and dings. Even with the overall size of this vehicle not being full, it doesn't hurt to add that extra level of visual. What you also see down low is, again, a nice subdued approach, not chromed out, but more of a brush subdued matte finish. Front center on the dash, going to be a nice, huge, oversized touchscreen system. Nice symmetric knobs on either side. The Tune Select really is a nice, helpful touch. Really allows you to kind of scroll through the various radio stations that you prefer. This obviously being on Sirius just makes for ease of operation. Other ones have some type of touch scroll. Sometimes you just can't find that operation. Now, if you need to dive into a specific setting, that's going to make it more full screen. And again, the just colorful look and integration is nice and simple. Another nice feature is just pressing the camera view. Earlier I mentioned how Mitsubishi describes the design of this vehicle as authentic and majestic. I'd say the majestic was almost reserved to the inside as you sweep around and just see the overall fit and trim, the premium-like feel on the inside. This vehicle only pricing in around about $37,000, but feels a lot more expensive than that. What I like is the sleekness to just the touches of the venting. Integrated into the dash, barely noticeable, but exactly where you need it. Gives them tons of airflow. Also sleek, of course, the infotainment system and even the integration of the climate controls. Nice ease of operation, symmetric knobs. Once again, everything else is a flush button approach. This vehicle having that tri-zone system, you can see the readout right here, and that just helps for overall comfort. Sweeping down below that as well, you will find connectivity, USB-C, USB, regular vehicle outlet, as well as wireless charging down here. One area I didn't expect is what you see here. Nice, sleek design when it comes to the gear shifter. Just simple approach, just press the button here, press up for reverse, press down for drive. Just a sleek overall look. Nice styling with the metallic-like look around it, as well as the multi-select knob for the various driving modes for that all-wheel drive control. Glossy black accent here as well, parking brake. Also dual cup holders, spring material to help keep smaller drinks in place, and right through the middle, tall center console giving extra elbow support once it lifts up. Modest cavernous area, again not illuminated, so it's going to be dark at night. Surprisingly, the gauge cluster, not analog, but digital readout, including the tach and speedometer with tons of information there in the middle. What you're seeing here is that cruise control awareness, basically setting the space between you and other vehicles, and the car will set the tone and keep pace with traffic. You can change the spacing with the button there on the steering wheel, allowing you to be closer or further away. The other control here on the steering wheel allow you to kind of select other options. You can just basically scroll through up and down or left and right. This one here being that awareness as you're on the open road, letting you know that the blind spot is on, both audible as well. Your forward alert is on. Specifically, the lane switching is off, but you can turn that on. This vehicle having kind of a surround blanket that really helps protect you long before you get into those kind of touchy situations. And that does for this edition of Road Warrior, our short and skinny review of the Outlander and basically the 3 rows of offering, which I'm a big fan of because it is there in a pinch. This one specifically there literally in a pinch because legroom numbers are going to fall modestly short for, again, someone my height, and also with the overall modest roofline. That means it could be kind of a headbanging affair if you're too tall. But as I always say, if you don't have the 3rd row, that means someone's kind of being left on the curb side. So obviously vertically challenged, going to be swept here to the back, and give and take in the 2nd row can deliver comfort. Now, would I argue, could they add about 2-3 inches overall to its size? Certainly, but I'm sure that comes with some extra engineering and some extra cost. So this scaled, well, it's going to fit most equations. Now, as always, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.